Not everybody who moves to Merida stays in Merida, guys.
And it's not necessarily for the reasons that you think that it doesn't work out. It's not because of anything to do with the city, nothing to do with crime and safety or feeling uncomfortable, nothing to do with money, nothing to do with real estate.
It's often because they never really adapt to Mexico.
They never set up a way of living in Merida like they did in wherever they came from. So they never set up their life the way that they lived back home, wherever they came from. So how does someone avoid this unfortunately common mistake? Well, that's what we're here to talk about today. Hey everyone, it's Meghan and Noe, Mérida Mexico Bilingual Realtors, back again today to talk about a very interesting topic, one that not that many people out there are fully transparent and truthful about, if I'm being perfectly honest.
We're not making this video to discourage everyone to come down here, but it's very important to mention all these common questions that a lot of viewers always ask us in the social media. Which are the reasons expats leave Merida after spending some time here, after relocating full-time, investing, just coming as a snowbirds, or whatever is the equation? Which are the main reasons they don't stick to the plan and then just change your mind and leave?
It's an interesting topic because obviously different strokes for different folks applies here. It's not the same case scenario for everyone. But since we ourselves are people who relocated to Merida many years ago and have lived here and met, hundreds and hundreds of people over the years, we have noticed certain patterns that have evolved and that reoccur. And there are some very specific reasons why people's lives don't pan out or play out the way they expected when they relocate full-time to Merida. And this is what we're talking about. We're talking about people, not investors, because you know what? You can invest in Merida, make a pocket full of cash, be very happy, and you never spend any time boots on the ground here. We're talking about people who their intention is retirement here, or their intention is to relocate their life here. And there are common mistakes and common pitfalls that we've seen play out over and over again. And so what we would like to talk about is how to avoid those, how to set up a successful life here in Merida, and how to allow yourself to thrive in this place. Who is Merida for?
Okay guys, so we want to explain the reasons why expats leave Merida. And we go with reason number one. Expats, they never learn Spanish. I know it's obvious, but there's a lot of guys that doesn't know it. Spanish is the official language. It's just a topic, guys, that we've seen lots of times. Is this idea of just not learning the language, at least the basics to survive,
If your entire vocabulary consists of hola, dos cervezas por favor, life is going to be pretty challenging and you're going to have a tough time immersing in the culture of Yucatan. And that's a shame because honestly, it's an incredible culture. And being able to communicate, yes, you can move here without speaking Spanish. I did it. I have done it. But does life get easier and does life get simpler when you can communicate, get your point across, achieve a goal, and does it feel very good and you give yourself a nice pat on the back when you see yourself being able to go out into the world and go to a hardware store and get whatever you need? Yeah, that feels good. So
I think the question here is, do I need Spanish to live in Merida? That's the question everyone asks. And I can say no, but if you don't learn it, life won't be that easy for you.
That's the reality.
I don't want to be a bummer, but electricists, plumbers, policemen, staff that works in banks, there's a bunch of daily life things where people don't speak English. So, and we've seen it with a lot of guys out there, and that's when life starts to get complicated. I mean, there are a number of ways of getting away with it. And for example, people using Google Translator, like they just...
the real-time audio translate tool.
Yeah.
It works well.
It works well, but I don't know.
Imagine if every time you wanted to have a conversation with your landscaper or your housekeeper, you had to whip out the Google Translate tool. Wow. It's just making an extra layer of complication, and obviously a lot of things get lost in translation day to day. You will be more frustrated, more aggravated, more, just less able to connect and less able to achieve simple daily tasks if you don't bother to learn a bit of Spanish.
Communication is the number one aspect when you are trying to relocate somewhere and to adapt to that environment. But there's a solution here, guys. It's very easy. There's Spanish online schools, and there's also regular schools where people just can go, learn Spanish, make friends, which is another we're gonna review later. And there's ways of learning at least the basics to communicate with the people down here.
So do you need Spanish? No. Will it make your life easier and you'll feel more at home?
Yes.
100%.
Yes. Reason number 2, guys. Expats never make Mexican friends. Yeah, it's a thing because obviously when you relocate to a different place, you are starting to miss home, miss friends. There's this emotional and psychological situation that happens in your head. And that's when you start to try to connect with a lot of expats that speak only English and just hang out in expat places. So it's like this expat bubble and with a bunch of people that they don't speak Spanish. So you need to be careful with that. It's always good to learn from locals, from Mexicans, from how things work. It's just important that, you know.
And don't get us wrong, like absolutely there's lots of great things that the expat community do here, and we are obviously a part of lots of different events, clubs, things that happen with foreigners who have relocated to Merida. And that's great, all of that is great, but you're seriously missing out if you don't have relationships and conversations on the regular with Mexicans who live in Mexico. You're missing an opportunity for deeper immersion into the culture, and you're just missing an opportunity to further expand your social network, which is hugely, hugely important when you relocate somewhere. You have to push yourself out of your comfort zone, you have to go out, you have to mingle, and you have to build a social network for numerous reasons, but the most important reason as it pertains to this video is so you have a life, and so you feel like you are part of society here in Merida, and it's a very nice society indeed.
It's fine to connect with other expats, obviously, but it's way better to connect out of those bubbles and try to connect with locals.
Mix it up,
and that's when things happen. And it's related with point 1. If you're trying to learn Spanish, like we are saying, then you need to practice with someone. So you're not going to practice Spanish with a bunch of expats.
But yeah, obviously, if you're hanging out with people that the native language is English, you're probably going to hit your default setting and go back to English. So these are integrated points 1 and 2, and I think 3. Let's move on to number 3.
Yeah.
Reason number 3. People expecting Mexico to become exactly like their home country.
Like the US or Canada.
Sure. If you're going to spend your entire day wishing that Mexico would operate the way that your home city did or your hometown did, well, you're going to be pretty dissatisfied because there's a lot of things here that you can't change.
Yeah, there's a bunch of situations where you will realize that, there's certain bureaucracy here in whatever paperwork you're doing for government-wise things, or sometimes with a certain staff. So there's this situation sometimes where obviously you're trying to look for the best people to work with, always, the best staff. Like we were saying, the electricity, plumbers, whatever.
And Mexico has its own time of which business is conducted, the way that, things are prioritized, bureaucracy runs differently. It just is what it is. And so if your entire relocation plan involves sitting there and hoping that things will change, you're going to be pretty dissatisfied with the way that life pans out here. You have to adapt, evolve or die, right? Isn't that more or less what Darwin was saying?
Yeah, I talked one day with a local friend about this, and he told me, you always expect to do things to be done like this. I thought expats and foreigners and other people that are not born and raised here relocated full-time here to live a slower life. And he made me think about a lot of things. And let's be honest, we still complain about that kind of stuff sometimes because we are used to live very fast. We are not born and raised here, but at some point you need to adapt. There are ways always of finding the good staff, the good guys, that you hear names and that's a good plumber, that's a good guy. Like we say, like you need to speak Spanish and have Mexican friends to know that stuff, And it's related with this. Every single aspect is related with the next one.
Yeah.
You need to adapt, and a way to adapt is this. So life is not as fast as it goes the US or Canada. People are tired of the rat race. Looks like life is like that in the US all the time.
No one likes to be a weasel.
Yeah, so everything depends on how you look at things. Always listen to American clients complaining about, I'm tired of the HOA, I'm tired of the house insurance, I'm tired of taxes, I'm tired of this 30-year mortgage, I'm tired of everything because I have chains in my hands and I'm like part of this modern slavery.
He means the golden handcuffs, where you are attached to a job which pays you very well, but you're dissatisfied with your quality of life. Every location for life has its payoffs and its not so great aspects. Well, the way that life moves here, it's different. So if you expect it to be exactly like it was at home, probably better to stay at home. I'm sorry, that's the harsh reality. So moving on to number 4.
Family pulls expats back to the US or Canada. And we've seen this happening where parents 80, 90 years old, they get sick, people end up in hospitals, and people has aging parents, and people has to go back to manage and control all those situations.
Or their grandchildren. Or their grown children. There's lots of reasons in family dynamics that can result in people having to change their retirement plans, change their elderly life plans. And that's one that, you can't, it's a little bit outside of your control. So So that one is easy enough to understand that, life, best laid plans don't always go the way that they were meant to, and you might have to head back home. So that's okay. You still had a good time for the years that you were in Merida, likely made quite a bit of money on your real estate transaction, and you can pack up and head back home knowing that you're better off now than when you arrived. So that one is an unavoidable.
And now we go with reason number 5, guys, and it's the weather. The Merida weather that is very special. For some people, it is different. From some others, is another day in the office. And when I say that, is that, for example, most of our clients from Texas, Atlanta, Florida, Louisiana, all that area, people find the transition very easy to Merida because it's the same weather. It's technically the same idea. It's technically the same heat during the spring and summer, and
humidity
and mosquitoes. And your life needs to change a little bit because you need to do activities early in the morning or later in the afternoon, like 5-6 p.m. So that's how it works. Mainly through May to July is how that works. So those kind of guys, our neighbors from the Gulf of Mexico, they find it very easy to transition. There's some others that they don't find it that easy. People living in the north border of the States, or even some Canadians also need to adapt to this. And sometimes it's hard, sometimes it's easy. It depends. It depends on a lot of things.
Me, as a Canadian, I just plan a trip in May. But it's a good excuse to take a trip to somewhere with a cooler climate in May.
Yeah, it's true. It doesn't feel like it has 4 seasons. It technically feels like it has 2 seasons.
Either hot and hotter.
No. Winter is very comfortable down here.
Yeah, it's true.
Winter is, I don't know in Fahrenheit, but it's something very easy to live with. It can go from mid-October to April, and it's this very nice weather around 20, 24, 25, 26 degrees Celsius.
Kind of up to 30.
30 sometimes, here is in Fahrenheit. Yeah, it's those 2 seasons. Like I said, some people find it very easy, some others doesn't find it easy. I find it easy. Meghan also find it easy, but she said, she takes her trips to other places in May and then come back because May is challenging. I mean, all houses have a pool. She just need a cold cocktail, hang out.
You use your one Spanish phrase, una cerveza, por favor.
Una cerveza or dos. And all homes have ACs, and also there's this way of getting solar. That's all. And it depends on how you look at things and your priority of important things in life.
The heat is a reality of Merida. So if you're not a person that likes a hot climate, it's probably not the right place for you. We're just being very honest.
Okay, guys, this is number 6, and this is related with immigration problems.
This is an interesting one. I'm a researcher myself, so when I would be looking at where I'm going to relocate, I'd probably be prioritizing, okay, how am I going to have my legal status set up as soon as possible? But not everybody seems to do that front-end legwork, and challenges can arise from there.
Everything starts with people don't have long-term plans. They just show up sometimes with tourist visas, and then they realize that
6 months is going to pass rather quickly.
Yeah, and then they go.
Then what?
They take a quick trip somewhere, get a stamp, and come back. I know people living that way for 5 years, which is crazy. You need to do the right thing. You need to, depending on your plan. I get people, they just say, try Merida for 6 months. Okay, yeah. Under a tourist visa, just explore. But if you plan to stay longer, you need an immigration facilitator.
We have a couple really good ones. If you need to be connected, let us know, reach out, and we can make that happen. But immigration is also something that you can take care of yourself. That said, if you're not bilingual, good luck with that. But yes, it's very important to note that you must start your immigration process in your home country. You can't just show up here and apply for residency. That's not how it works. So there's your free tip for the day. Don't try to arrive in Merida and start your residency process.
Yeah, and we don't want to dig deeper into this. That could be for another video, but mainly in Mexico, there's 3 types of visas. Is a tourist visa that lasts only for 180 days, which is 6 months.
And by the way, you're not automatically granted 180 days. The officer at customs decides how long your stamp goes for. So if you have a black mark on your record, you overstayed your tourist visa once upon a time, they don't have to give you that 180 days. So be aware of that as well. And note to those who are new to the channel, we are not immigration facilitators, we are real estate agents. So by all means, reach out and we can connect you with a facilitator, but we are not the be all end all of this knowledge. There's tons of knowledge out there. Start Googling.
Okay guys, so now we go with reason number 7, and this is a very good one, and I constantly see it a lot, and this: expats never build a life in here.
Yeah, this is huge. This is probably the number one reason that we see people be here, retirees specifically, but people in general be here for a certain number of years. They never fully integrate. They never set up a life that fulfills them.
There's no hobbies. There's no routines.
There's no friend group.
There's no
no
friend group.
social network. Yeah, and then of course, you're gonna want to return to your old friends, your family, your old way of life. So yeah, this is integral to your success here as an immigrant or as a whatever you want to call yourself. Essentially, we are immigrants to Mexico. So it's very important that you find your passions, find your interests, find your career, wherever you're at in your phase of life. And this is particularly important for retirees. You need to find the things that light you up, and you need to find networks and opportunities to be doing that activity or those activities on the regular. You need to set up a successful life the same way that you had it at home.
There's so many things to do down here, guys. There are so many sports activities. You can volunteer for a bunch of different things here with lots of NGOs. There's so many arts.
Culture endlessly. If you're into cooking, that can be your thing. Whatever it is, it exists here for sure, and probably on a much cooler scale than you could ever imagine. So lean into the things that light you up, find passions, and do them on the regular.
And have a goal. I mean, maybe you achieved a goal retiring and you earn paychecks. But there's other goals here. We've seen that with other people. They end up here, they purchase, they never do all the reasons we previously explained. So there's no friends, there's no Spanish, there's nothing. But you know what's the worst? There's no hobbies, there's no routine, there's nothing to do. It's just all day watching TV, playing video games, not getting out of the house. It's very depressing. It's kind of going back to COVID times, just because you don't have the will to meet others or to learn something new. And that's very sad.
A super isolated existence, it's obviously not going to lend itself well to a thriving life in a new city. So yeah, we have to push ourselves beyond our comfort zone. Go out and do things. Go out and meet people.
Okay, guys, and now we go with reason number 8, and that's unrealistic expectations.
This is why we try to be so sometimes brutally honest about the life experience in Merida and the way that things are here. We are very blunt, and we realize that that's probably a tough pill to swallow for some people. But if you show up here and you think that it's going to be an absolute paradise, you're not wrong. It is a wonderful, wonderful place. But obviously, like anywhere, there's challenges, there's frustrations, there's that different speed of life we talked about. And yeah, no place is perfect. So
every place has trade-offs, guys. So if you're leaving something back home because you don't agree with certain politics or dynamics or whatever is happening back home, now here you will have to accept a lot of things.
Well, it's like the Instagram thing, expectation versus reality, right? You think that everybody looks like a filtered supermodel version of themselves, and then in real life at the grocery store, not so much.
Yeah, exactly. There's certain things here. There's no perfection of things, and you will be thinking like, hey guys, tell me more. What are you thinking?
There's very few things that I don't love about Yucatan. I could write you a list this long of all the things I love about living here, and then there's a list of 5 or 6 things that they irk me sometimes. One example will be the way that they don't control the stray animal populations. There's a lack of education around spaying and neutering, and this leads to obviously some terrible situations for animals. That's painful for me, but what can I do about that? Well, you can become a part of the solution. You can become a part of the education. You can be making donations to the foundations that are doing their best to control these situations, participate in spay and neuter campaigns, etc., right? So you find something that is not flawless in a location that you love, well, you need to be a part of the solution, not a part of just sitting back and complaining about it.
Yeah, exactly. So it's always better to make a lot of research about the place. That's why we're here. That's why we upload a lot of videos, so you guys can have the right expectation.
A realistic summary of what it's like here. And again, this isn't about investing. If you want to invest in Yucatan, don't hesitate. The time is now. The return on investment year over year here is amazing. And this is one of the last great frontiers of real estate investment. But we're talking about people that are trying to set up and establish living here full time and becoming a part of Yucatecan society. So these are 2 different animals. So here's the takeaway from this video. Who are the expats or the immigrants that thrive here in Merida? What do they do? What do they have in common that makes them set up a successful long-term life here in Merida and the surrounding areas?
Learning Spanish. That's the first one, guys.
You
At least some basics.
don't have to be flawless. I need the grammar police to come in and correct me. Actually, I need to go to Spanish school formally because everything I learned in the streets and from Netflix. But you know what? Over the years, I can accomplish whatever I need to accomplish. I can have conversations about whatever topic is necessary, and I can conduct business in Spanish if need be. So this is essential that you at least try. Trying goes a long way and is appreciated by all of the locals. They can see that you're attempting to communicate with them in their language, and it goes a super long way.
Yeah, it's always very useful. We always try to make people's life easier. We have a list of a lot of vendors that are English spoken, but Meghan and Noe can't take care of your back all the time. At some point you will...
We can't be their translator.
At some point you will end up in a convenience store, in a situation. There's a bunch of things that Spanish will be needed. So
download Duolingo today.
Exactly. Or just join the school like we said, or whatever. Also, the next activity you need to do is make friends. Make friends, walk your dog in the park, make friends there, join whatever hobby activities.
A gym, a sports league.
There is so much. If you have the willing to get out of your home and make friends, organically it will happen in a group of friends that have the same interests. That's how it works, and you don't have to force it. So we recommend that route a lot. Classes are always good, whatever you want to learn. There's so many things, guys. I have 100 things in my head where you guys can just make some friends.
Embrace cultural differences. This is super important. Be tolerant, guys. Understand that this is Mexico. It's not Canada. It's not the United States. And Mexico has its own way of doing a lot of things. And that's okay. It's great, actually.
Are you Mexican or Mexican?
I don't think we should.
Are you a Mexican or a Mexicant?
I'm a Mexican.
Good.
Don't be a Mexican.
Create routines, guys. I have my own routines. I like to walk my dogs in the park daily. I like to meet people. I always try to join different sports, gym. We're thinking about joining a new CrossFit gym now. There's a martial arts place that a friend recommended me to join. So there's ways of expanding this spheres of influence. But yeah, you have to create the routines for doing that. And the routine starts
by leaving your house.
By leaving your house, guys. So yeah. Also, the other one is stay legally compliant.
Don't get a complaint. Be compliant.
Be compliant. So guys, just do the right thing.
Do your research, honestly. Like, let's just start by making sure that you qualify for residency. Step one.
Just ask the AI or ChatGPT, whatever. What do I need for my temporary residence?
No, we don't recommend using the AI. Protect the water.
And I think the most important thing here is just accept Mexico the way it is.
Yes.
That's all.
Because it's amazing.
It's amazing. That Meghan was saying something about, I have a list of things that they're challenging, I don't like. Is this, but we have a list like this of the things we love about this place.
And Yucatan in particular is its own incredible place. Like, yeah, my mind is flooding with different scenes of like nature and the places you can explore, the history, the culture, the food, everything. So, you know, you're relocating to Mexico, hopefully because you like Mexico. So embrace it for what it is. The culture is incredible. And hopefully you want to be a part of that society and immerse in it.
So as you can see, guys, the goal is not just buying a home in Merida. That's
maybe step 2 or 3 is buying a home in Merida. But what you want to do is create a life in Yucatan.
The goal is building a real life in Yucatan if the plan is relocating full time. But also it goes for the snowbird because you're going to spend 6 months here.
It's true.
And it's kind of the same idea.
Although I feel like the snowbirds, man, their social calendars are like packed because they're here for only, 4-5 months. They're just like, okay, on Wednesdays we have pickleball, on Tuesdays we go to this bar and we play canasta here, blah, 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 the list goes on and on. So I'm not too worried about the snowbirds. I'm worried about those younger folks who are planning for their future years or taking the leap of faith and trying to be entrepreneurial here in Yucatan. You guys need to become a part of the cultural quilt here and integrate and just adore this place for what it is.
Okay, guys, so this is what we think about why expats live in Mérida, Mexico. And we explain always things no filter. And I hope you guys enjoy this video.
Any questions, any comments? Any of you who have lived here and left, comment down below. Why did you have to head back home? Or why wasn't this the right place for you? We would love to hear about it.
Yeah, guys, comment down below and just reach out, please, in our socials to learn more about Merida, Yucatan, Mexico.
And of course, for those of you who are interested in buying, selling, or investing in real estate down here in Yucatan, never hesitate. Let's set up a consultation call free of charge. Just reach out on the socials down below and we will get something on the calendar.
Okay, guys, this is Meghan and Noe, Mérida Mexico Bilingual Realtors, powered by EXP. Please reach out, guys. We are going to release very interesting content very soon, guys. Stuff that no one talks about. So stay tuned for more.
Until then, hasta luego.
Adios, guys. See you soon.